HARK, we are here for our last aspect review for Spark of Rebellion SOR for Star Wars Unlimited. This is a combo video we're going to be going over quickly. Heroism and Villainy. There's only a couple of cards in each that are really like the most impactful, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens with set 2, and hopefully with set 2 I can get these out a little bit quicker, and they will be branded under the regroup phase when it comes down to that. But as it stands right now, we're going to start with Heroism, then we're going to hit Villainy, and then we'll wrap up the series here at the end with a little bit of discussion about aspects. Okay, here we are with the Heroism. Unfortunately, the way that SWDB works at the moment, I can't get it all into one page and exclude all the other stuff. When you search Heroism, it literally brings up every Heroism card. So the first card is R2-D2, but the rest of the cards are here. So our big hits, our best cards in Heroism Agnostic, very clearly Fleet Lieutenant and Wing Leader. The idea behind this is that with your Rebel deck, which you're probably going to be playing in Heroism unless you're playing something like Han, but even then you can probably play Han Command, which will still run plenty of Rebels. Fleet Lieutenant is a 3-cost 3/3 that allows you to attack with a unit, and if it's a Rebel, it gets +2/+0. Has to be ready, it cannot be exhausted, obviously. And then we have Wing Leader, a 3-cost 2/1 that when played gives 2 experience tokens to a friendly Rebel unit. Lots of Sabine decks, lots of Leia decks, even my Hera deck runs 3 copies of each of these, and while that's a lot of 3-cost cards, you want to be able to get those extra buffs out there and do them in different orders depending on what you need. If you need a quick attack, Fleet Lieutenant helps you out. If you are able to wait and get the extra stuff going, or you need something to survive a little bit longer, Wing Leader gives you those experience tokens on there. In terms of cards with the best potential, the R2-D2 and 3PO combo of being able to look at the top cards of your deck and figure out exactly what you want to be able to either draw the cards or use them for other effects is actually pretty interesting. Rebel Pathfinder's a good cheap if you want to go wide with your Rebels. 2-cost 2/3 with Saboteur, very important extra keyword there, especially if you need to get past Sentinels. And then Alliance X-Wings, they're X-Wings. X-Wings are always fun. Having a 2-cost 2/3 with no effect, but is a Rebel and triggers off all the other Rebel stuff and is in space can end up helping a lot, especially if you know your opponent is not going to be space heavy and their ground arena is going to be super oppressive. General Dodonna, I think, is a card that's a little slept on. Even at a 1 or 2 of in a deck, being able to give your other Rebels +1/+1 is a very good ability to have on the board. The only downside is he's a 4-cost, whereas the other version of this is a 3-cost and is significantly better as a result. But that's Heroism in terms of bests and potentials. Here we are with the last aspect section. This is, of course, Villainy. We just did Heroism, putting it all together to get some extra cool stuff going. We have here the best cards. We have here all the cards, but the best cards are going to be right here in this pocket. For me personally, in terms of every deck that exists that plays Villainy, there's only one card that is considered the best, and that's Cell Block Guard. A 3-cost 3/3 with Sentinel, messes with your opponent and has a lot of combo utility based upon what you can do with other cards in your decks to be able to get things going. Snowtrooper Lieutenant is another card that breaches that best of, but because of it's often that Villainy will not always play full Imperials, such as if you're playing something like Boba. If you're playing Grand Inquisitor, or if you're playing Vader, or if you're playing Emperor Palpatine, this becomes a lot more useful, as does General Veers as a 3-cost 3/3, give your other Imperial units +1/+1, and TIE Advanced 4-cost 3/2, when played give 2 experience tokens to another Imperial unit. Snowtrooper has the benefit of being cheaper than Fleet Lieutenants and can go into a different slot. Same thing with General Veers, cheaper than Dodonna, but TIE Advanced, unfortunately, is more expensive than Wing Leader, even though he can stick around. TIE Fighter, regular TIE Fighters, 1-cost 2/1. If you need to be running those TIE Fighters and those Death Star Stormtroopers, you can absolutely do that. There's a lot of people super high on Viper Probe Droid, 2-cost, 3 power, 2 health. When played, look at opponent's hand. For 2 reasons. It is a 3 power, 4/2 that can clear out any other 2-cost and sometimes 3-cost cards, except for the things that are uniques that have 4 health, such as 3PO and R2. But having that 3 power and the knowledge of what's in your opponent's hand is very strong. I am running these in my Boba deck, and there's a couple other decks that are running these just for the fact that it's a 3 power that you can use to eliminate one of your opponent's cards on the next round in the second round after playing this. In terms of the other cards, there's really not much else here. There's your top cards that you're going to see in the lists are going to be Cell Block Guard, Snow Trooper Lieutenant, Veer's TIE Advance, and Viper Probe Droid. The rest of it is kind of just here. A lot of people are very high on Mahdi, especially if you're running it in Vader decks, or you can get it off the board in order to be able to utilize its effect. Emperor Palpatine's pretty good for this, but in terms of Palp being where he wants to be and Vader being where he wants to be, not necessarily in the most playable aspect of the game. But if you're playing him, Mahdi's a great slot in. And that's it. That's our coverage of all the aspects. The way that the game is built right now, especially with set 1, it is very interesting design to see what is good on each side. When we went through, we saw that Vigilance Villainy is very powerful, but not necessarily so Vigilance Heroism unless you're in one specific strategy, while Aggression Heroism is super good and is run by several decks to be able to maintain what it has on the board in combination with its heroism agnostic, and same thing with villainy agnostic for some of the other stuff, to be able to be successful in those deck types. It'll be very interesting, as I said in the beginning, what set 2 does to change this, how we see new things, and what the game design is going to be going forward. But as it stands right now, we have pretty much guidance on how the game is going to go until they decide to change things, which the developers can do, because that's how games evolve. I had a lot of fun covering these. I do note that they did not come out in a proper amount of time. We're basically a month after release by the time this specific video comes out. I'll try to have all of these set and ready to go beforehand and work on them. That way I'm not, late to the dinner party and having somebody else do basically the same thing. Doesn't matter. The point being, I had fun. I hope you had fun watching these videos and joining the coverage with me. We'll talk about decks. We'll talk about aspects in set 2 down the line. There's going to be a couple of other things that are going to be coming out as a result, but we are transitioning into action phase, regroup phase for our gameplay and talking point episodes respectively. I have rambled more than enough than I should have. Remember to like and comment on this video. Subscribe to this lovely YouTube channel. I have been monetized, so if you wish to support me, you can go ahead and either do a super thanks on this specific video or any of the other videos that it applies to, or join the membership program. It does get you access to 2 of the emotes across YouTube based upon being a member of my channel. I believe I set it at $4.99 or whatever your appropriate currency is in your location. You get my face as an emote. If you're a subscriber on Twitch, it's the same thing, but over on Twitch. And then anybody who knows what I do on Twitch, you see the things. But the Ryback Stare has arrived to YouTube, and I'm very excited to be able to see those in comments on other videos. So be sure to participate if you want to. Otherwise, thanks for joining me. That's all I have today. We'll see you next time. And with that, I will see you in the stars.